It is exactly 10 p.m. in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to our second and final edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma and we are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. 99% of Ugandan products will access the United Kingdom market next year without taxes. Now, this was revealed by the UK Trade Envoy to Uganda, Lord Dola Popat, during the Afro-Indian Business Summit held at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. President Yoweri Museveni, who officiated the opening of the event, regretted the Asian expulsion by Idi Amin in 1972 and encouraged Indians to invest more in Uganda. Henry Okrut gives us more.
So it's a sure deal.
To celebrate 100 years of the Indian Association in Uganda, the Indian business community converged at Speak Resort Munyonyo in Kampala. They were here to appreciate the current investment climate in the country. Testimony after testimony, Indians reported progress.
Our stake can be summarized as 3 P's: peaceful, pleasant and profitable.
Between 2015 and 2020, Uganda Investment Authority licensed 228 Indian investment projects valued at 464.5 million, accumulating in nearly 20,000 jobs.
For several decades now, the Indian community has played a significant role in the socio-economic development of Uganda.
Ugandan government officials could not agree less with the return of Indians and the repossession of their property being contributory to the current investment success.
Your Excellency, the good news I want to give you is that because of your directive, as I speak, we have returned 4,063 properties to the Asian community. Your Excellency, we are very, very happy because that decision you took, I must say, is the reason as to why today we talk about 1,139 Indian-owned factories in Uganda.
It was at this same event that it was revealed that Ugandan products would access the market of the United Kingdom without taxes.
I can announce today that from next year, despite the fact we haven't signed a trade deal, from next year, 99% of Uganda's export to the UK will be duty-free.
President Yoweri Museveni, who had arrived earlier and toured exhibitions, shared his experience of the Indian development capacity.
We found some Africans, and some of them were in the parliament. We had a parliament called NRC, National Resistance Council. And some of our members were sitting in Indian shops. I told these people, get out of those shops. Because it is immoral, it is also not strategic. Because it is immoral, because why do you take somebody's property?
He regretted the expulsion of Asians in 1972 by Idi Amin, citing it as a factor for the country's economic stagnation at the time.
It was not strategic. My question to them was, how can you call new investors? You new investors, you come. Uganda is good for you. When the old investors are crying that you stole their property, how will you do that?
This, however, he says, will never happen in Uganda as the country embraces investment for development.
There are some countries which I visited, and I told them, I said, you people, you will be in trouble. I don't want to mention the countries, because I'm also Minister of Foreign Affairs. They would say, you can't invest here unless you get a local partner first. What's that for? You can see, what are you looking for? What if there is no local partner? What happens? Or if the local partner is a bad one? What are you looking for? That means that these people didn't see that the mere act of investing in an economy is a very big act of support. And benefits will come to the country whether the investor is a Ugandan or non-Ugandan.
He encouraged more Indians to come and invest in Uganda.
There's one area where I would want to invite people. This is the area of fertilizers, because now people are crying that because of the war in Ukraine, the price of fertilizer has gone up in the world. But here, we have got a very high grade phosphate deposit, more than 200 million tons of phosphate ore in Lord Popat's area of Tororo. So I invite people to invest in the phosphates. We had invited a Chinese group, but I think they got problems financially. So that area is there.
The two-day business summit is part of commemorations to mark 100 years of Indian Association in Uganda.
President Yoweri Museveni has suspended all the interim leadership of public markets across Kampala with immediate effect. This directive follows the president's meeting with Kampala leaders on Wednesday, the 16th of November 2022. In attendance was the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honourable Robina Nabanja. We have more in this story.
On Wednesday, 16th November 2022, President Yoweri Museveni convened the Kampala leaders meeting after just 2 weeks when he held the last meeting. The meeting was attended by the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, the ministers of Kampala, City Executive Director, among other leaders. Top on the agenda was resolving the contained leadership market wrangles around Kampala Metropolitan.
His Excellency the President Yoweri Museveni has issued further directives on the management of government markets in Kampala in a meeting held yesterday at State House.
Addressing media the Thursday evening in Kampala, the ministers in charge of Kampala in company of the City Executive Director, Dorothy Chisaka, shares the details of the engagements.
The President directed as follows. 1. Market leadership in all public markets in Kampala is disbanded and should, with immediate effect, hand over the operations of the markets to the Executive Director KCCA, to the executive of KCCA. KCCA will deploy staff at all government markets who will guide the market vendors on the immediate steps to be taken so that they can carry on their activities. Vendors shall pay periodic rental fees, either monthly or annually. This will depend on Cabinet information paper which we are going to present on Monday.
According to the resolutions, was the decision to mandate KCCA for the full management of public markets within Kampala Metropolitan.
According to the directive, and as the press statement has been given by the Minister, the leadership by the current interim committees that were placed there in 2021 should come back, is coming back to KCCA. We are going to have a process where they will hand over to our task force on markets so that we can place the new leadership of KCCA in these places.
That question concerning Suzanne and other people in quotes, just term them as, see them as bracelets which were lent to them. Now the owner is claiming his bracelets or her bracelets, she should just hand over the hand, spread the hand, for the owner, KCCA, to remove the bracelets, period.
The President also redirected the city administrators to heed to his earlier directive of setting up 2 public markets in 5 divisions of Kampala.
KCC should establish 2 markets per division as part of provision of workspaces for vendors and hawkers evicted from the streets. KCC, in collaboration with State House, should establish 1 skilling center per division for youth skilling and job creation. The yard at Kiseka Market is strictly for vendors in mechanics, hardware, and not any other category of vendors.
For Susan Kushaba, the former Owino Market self-proclaimed supreme leader, the president's directive has however been distorted by the messengers, though she accepts that when the right time comes, she will step aside.
But His Excellency said we can work with KCCA because there are problems that the vendors want to be solved, which cannot be solved by KCCA. Because KCC cannot recommend a vendor to get a loan, but I have been recommending.
Susan Kushaba, who has been at the helm of the leadership of St. Balikudembe alias Owino Market, is however convinced that if given an opportunity, she is still willing to shift responsibility.
And I have an association, we have a circle, it has to run. We have the youth circle, it has to run. So, but the administration will be for KCC.
We want peace and order in all markets, all the 16 markets. One sounding market might be Owino Market, but all markets.
The president is moved to streamline the 16 markets operation in Kampala Metropolitan. He is aimed at easing tension and creating better operating environment which has been sterile for quite some time and mainly arising from leadership gaps. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Vice President Jessica Alupo has urged Ugandans to expand production and crop research to meet the increasing global demand for the country's products. Alupo said African countries need to address this problem, adding that only countries that maintain good quality and standards right from planting to harvesting, processing, transportation and packaging will benefit from the increasing global demand. She made the remarks today at the opening of the first ever UAE-Uganda Investment Forum at Kampala Sheraton Hotel. We have a detailed story.
Before officially opening the first ever United Arab Emirates Uganda Investment Forum at Sheraton Hotel Kampala today, Vice President Major Retired Jessica Alupo was led on a guided tour of stalls by investors from United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Uganda, among others, that displayed variety of processed goods ranging from food to machinery. Flanked by the Minister of Trade and Cooperatives, Francis Mwebesa, the Vice President assured the investors of Uganda's commitment to putting in place a conducive political and regulatory environment for the competitiveness of the private sector, adding that government remains open for investments in all key sectors.
Let me welcome all of you to the launch of the United Arab Emirates and the East African Trade Mission taking place for the first time in Uganda. I think it's a very big milestone that we are making. We are very privileged to host you, and we are very comfortable with you. We are a private sector-led economy. We would support the private sector. I have been in the meetings of Africa. Our president is known as the champion of integration. And one of the reasons why he is a champion of integration is that he wants people to have huge market, wide market, large market for their products so that they can solve their problems. So that makes this meeting very important. We learn small things and add value here, then you also learn some things and go and add value the other side. The summit is now officially open.
Minister of Trade and Cooperatives Francis Mwebesa said huge opportunities lie in Africa to produce for the global market. He noted that partnerships are now possible with the coming into place of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which guarantees market access for Ugandan products with a market potential of about 1.3 billion people. In her remarks, Blessing Owomugisha, The Secretary General of Uganda Chamber of Commerce said that the fruitful participation and interaction will create useful business partnerships that will enable Africa to market their products as a bloc and become an influential player in the global market. It is envisaged that global production and consumption of agricultural products will continue to increase over the next decade, driven by rising population and demand in developing and emerging countries, especially India, China, and Middle East, including United Arab Emirates. Etole Ed Akengel, UBC News.
Government is in final stages of reviewing the public service standing orders to streamline service delivery in the country. This was revealed during a feedback planning meeting organized by the Office of the Prime Minister at the President's Conference Hall. The service delivery accountability field trips were a directive from the President instructing Prime Minister Robina Nabanja to conduct accountability barazas to establish how funds sent from government were being spent.
The Attorney General Senior Counsel Chiwanuka Chiriwa says that these public service standing orders are like an operational manual and not reflected in the laws of Uganda at all. It was agreed that some civil servants are hiding in the public service standing orders to underperform, knowing that they are protected by the law as permanent and pensionable.
But all the other laws in Uganda affect public servants like anyone else. This thing of permanent and pensionable, they can be removed.
The Prime Minister Robina Nabanja held a meeting to review service delivery and accountability field trips so far conducted in Greater Luwero, Mpigi, Wakiso and Mukono districts. The Prime Minister called for teamwork between political leaders and permanent secretaries to ensure smooth delivery of services to the people.
Because for me, I didn't know that there was even 40 minutes for sports in my district. Mukasa is saying, enough is enough. We are going to provide ourselves and move.
During the service delivery accountability field trips, it was observed that there was lack of transparency about available resources sent by government to the districts. The government technical officers were faulted for hiding such vital information.
They start from central government, they connect with the local government, and they eat this money together.
Let's bite. The teeth are there, we have them and so on. I don't know why we are not even biting. Let's bite these people.
So for us to begin to come here and begin lamenting, when we have the entire structure of government, which is my considered opinion, if you organize the structure, just 1 month is enough to clean up the entire mess which we have in the government, and the population will begin to feel what it is. The Attorney General is here. Like you've guided him.
Lack of transparency means that spending of government resources is done in the dark. This has promoted corruption, bribery, and shoddy work. To ensure transparency and accountability, it was recommended that there was need to deal firmly with cases of corruption by punishing culprits.
The need for proper guidelines to the districts. And what are the complaints from the districts? Inadequate guidelines, especially on procurement. So we need to review some of the programs, especially UGIFT and USMID. There is a lot of money, and the complaint is inadequate guidelines, and the guidelines given are not linked to the decentralization framework.
We must take this approach, even to Parliament, and ensure that if we are moving as a government, we move as a government. And the leader of opposition will come from among ourselves because of failing to monitor the monies we are sending for service delivery.
This service delivery accountability program is scheduled to be rolled out throughout the country. Ministers and members of parliament will be mobilized in regions to participate in this exercise, like it was the case with parish development model sensitization.
This was an intervention which had a purpose to make sure that members of parliament play a role in their constituencies. We need to revitalize the district roads committees.
Among those who attended included the third Deputy Prime Minister, a cross-section of ministers and permanent secretaries.
to the August House now, where Parliament has set tough conditions amidst passing a loan request by government to fund efforts of enhancing digital revolution in Uganda. This follows a report presented by the Committee on National Economy in a session chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. Daniel Mugoya reports.
Parliament has handed the ball back to the courts of the executive to weigh in on the implication of surrendering the independency of National Information Technology (NITA-U) as government finalizes the rationalization move. The MPs notice that such a move could cause a dent in the economy, considering the various agreements with development partners, including the International Association of the World Bank.
And as long as the loan has been obtained and is still being used for that purpose, then NITA-U will not go. At least that is what Parliament has decided. And I believe the executive will have no choice but to comply.
In a presentation of the findings by a Committee on National Economy regarding a loan request of up to $200 million to fund the Uganda Digital Acceleration Project Government Network, Bukedea County Member of Parliament Ikojo John Bosco asserts the repercussions of repealing the NITA-U Act with a view that it would disable the process of the intended loan.
The Attorney General should ensure that the final text of the financing agreement is clear so that the effect of mainstreaming NITA-U into the ministry without causing any loss to government.
The committee reveals that NITA-U has proved its capacity to independently manage the national backbone infrastructure and hence needs the necessary support. Whereas the committee had noticed that the implementation of the project activities will be channeled through a steering committee chaired by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance, Parliament noticed a conflict of interest described as ambiguity, which may influence corruption tendencies, hence deleting the clause in the report through a motion raised by Muwanga Chivumbi, the Shadow Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
The loan was structured is that the minister will have that supervisory role, but the actual implementation will be done by NITA-U, and move to delete 12.1 and 12.2. And then we leave the project implementation unit, which is NITA-U, and which shall have the project management.
Parliament, chaired by Speaker Anita Among, wants government to provide Wi-Fi spots at all learning institutions and sub-county spots in order to utilize the benefits of national backbone infrastructure and also generate revenue to government. This is not the first loan request to fund Uganda Digital Acceleration Government Network, although the cost of internet remains disputed by a section of the business community in Uganda.
Government has to date invested over $175 million in the national backbone infrastructure.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Uganda Muslim Supreme Council has cautioned the Islamic faith to disregard information circulating, stopping members from participating in tomorrow's national Muslim elections. Now, this was at a media briefing held at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council headquarters at Old Kampala, attended by, among others, the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje.
The roadmap for the national Muslim elections organized by Uganda Muslim Supreme Council that started a couple of months ago has reached its climax following the final preparations ahead of tomorrow's elections. A team of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council delegates, while addressing the press Thursday afternoon, confirmed all is set for the elections.
Having elections tomorrow, indeed, that's the date we set, and that's what we set for the national Muslim election.
Tomorrow is the day when we are carrying out grassroots elections at mosque levels.
The Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, refuted allegations that Uganda Muslim Supreme Council intends to own individually owned mosques.
I wanted to clarify that those mosques which are being owned by individuals, organizations, and they are not willing to surrender those properties to Uganda Muslim Council, what is required of them is to register and maybe accept to be moving or implementing the constitution of Uganda Muslim Council, but not surrendering the properties as the rumors surrounding.
Mubaje called on Muslims to participate in the elections and to disregard those who want to divert them.
Let all the Muslims of Uganda go for the grassroots elections. We have been taking it upon ourselves to sensitize the Muslims. We moved as a team of united people and united leaders of all those groups which you have been hearing of Muslims in the country. Please discard all the rumors, all the discouragement that don't go for the general elections. Those are selfish individuals. Please don't listen to them because we want unity and we want togetherness.
The Electoral Commission chairman at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, Weswa Omar Muhammad, asserted that only those in the voters' register will cast their votes.
You must be knowing that your imam, your committee chairman, whoever you are, you must know that you are under obligation to protect the properties in trust for the Muslims of that area.
The national Muslim elections are happening after the review and registration of the constitution, with over 15,000 mosques expected to participate. However, the election exercise in the Ebola-stricken districts of Mubende and Kasanda has been suspended.
We agreed with the district of Mubende. He came to the office. We have arranged everything ready, but Mubende has been suspended.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
The Archbishop of the Anglican Church, Right Reverend Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, is disappointed by the government's move to close primary teachers' colleges in Uganda. Kazimba, who was on a pastoral visit to Lango Diocese, called for courage among Christians during tribulations. Among other activities, Archbishop Kazimba laid a wreath on Cecilia Ogwal's late mother's grave, who built the first church in Adok before passing away in 2015.
Marching with the ululations are the Christians of Lango Diocese welcoming His Grace the Archbishop of Uganda. Right Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu is in the diocese for a 4-day pastoral visit. He opted to live among the flock and spent a night 50 kilometers away from town. He was hosted by the Dokolo Woman MP's family in Adok for 2 nights. Kazimba applauded the immense contribution of the family in supporting the church. They built a twin church for both Catholics and Anglican in Adok sub-county.
They can build a church here for the Roman Catholic and a church this side for the Anglican. And the other church and other developments in the region. I have been impressed to see that they come back home and support the community instead of being in Kampala or Jinja or where. I think this is something to emulate, that when we are somewhere, when you're blessed somewhere, let us not forget home. Come back and support the people.
But Cecilia Ogwal says the support for the church roots back to their parents. The first Anglican church in Adok was built by her mother, Rosemary Opio, even when her husband was Catholic.
We wanted unity to start from home. And as I speak now, there's no difference between Catholic and Anglican in Adok.
The Church of Uganda has honored my late mother. She was very faithful in the work of God, and she constantly reminded us that we should always help church workers. So that's what you don't have to preach to us. We know it and we feel it.
Now the Archbishop called upon parents to inculcate in their children good values.
God is doing a new thing. Let all of us jump and work together.
He later proceeded to commission the Dokolo Archdeaconry headquarters, also built by Cecilia Ogwal's twin brothers.
So it is our way of work, not even churches only. Sometimes we do for orphans and widows.
And for the Diocese of Lango, he appreciates the Diocese of Lango that much as we speak the word, but we also have a symbol of the whole, which we are saying, pray and also work hard.
Actually, as a Christian, I would think his coming should unite us.
I pray that
Hundreds surrendered their lives to Jesus after a powerful 3-minute sermon in Tokolo district. Kazimba charged the Christians to embrace the message in Isaiah chapter 43 verse 18. He says God is doing a new thing in Uganda.
Don't take your husband to witch doctor. I pray. Whenever my husband has gone to sleep with another woman, would you please give him a running stomach?
Kazimba is also disappointed by government's move to close all the PTCs in the country.
You have really helped the devil to kill the people. So I want to call upon the government that instead of closing, they should consider elevating so that these colleges become core PTC. Instead of closing them, they support them. And I'm specifically concerned that most of the PTCs they are closing are for Anglican Church. Even when they are performing better, there is a lot of imbalance.
The Archbishop ended his 4-day pastoral tour today in Lira at the diocesan headquarters in Boroboro. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Now, a section of non-governmental organizations advocating for the rights of journalists wants the Constitutional Court to declare the Computer Misuse Amendment Act in its totality as null and void. The 14 filed a petition in the Constitutional Court saying that the enacted Computer Misuse Amendment Act is contrary to the constitutional provisions and that it violates the rights of journalists, freedom of speech and expression.
The Computer Misuse Amendment Act of 2022 was passed by Parliament on 8 September 2022 and assented to by the President on 28 October 2022. Since then, there has been mixed reactions from public, some saying it's intended to violate the rights of Ugandans and those using different social media platforms. Thursday, the Human Rights Network for Journalists Uganda, Chapter for Uganda, Editors Guild, Center for Constitutional Governance, Center for Public Interest Law, Winkiza, Wandera Andrew Amon, Lillian Droba, among others, have filed a petition challenging the act.
We had to wait for the act to be gazetted, and we have since seen the gazetted act, and we are filing this petition to challenge the entire act. And when the evidence is presented before the quorum of the judges, we believe that it will be declared unconstitutional. First of all, we believe that the amendments introduced are unconstitutional in as far as they go beyond the limitations on the freedom of speech, freedom of journalists, freedom of media and freedom of expression.
Lawyer James adds that in the first instance, the passing of the act by the Parliament did not follow the right rules of procedure, which makes it unconstitutional in its totality.
Parliament did not follow its rules of procedure after our perusal of the Hansard, when the Speaker was posing the question at the time of passing this act. We also believe that this act overturns the Supreme Court decision which set limitations on freedom of expression. And we all know that it's unconstitutional to overturn a decision of the court by legislation. Therefore, we filed this petition.
According to the petitioners, most of the sections in the Amendment Act contravenes with some of the provisions in the Constitution, especially the right to freedom of speech, expression and the media.
We all know that social media is capable of being misused. The problem we have is the draconian provisions which were put in this amendment, because the procedural impropriety in terms of its passing is just one part, but we also have a problem with the substantive provisions. We believe that they are draconian, they go beyond the limitations, because we know freedom of expression is not absolute. It has limitations. Those limitations have been set by a court none less than the Supreme Court of this country. In the meantime, before the act, the petition is heard, we shall also file a preliminary application to seek to stop the implementation of this act pending the trial of this case.
It's against this backdrop that the petitioners want court to find the whole act null and void, with this to be struck up for being inconsistent and in contravention of the Constitution. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
25 minutes to 11 in the studios of UBC TV. We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
So, I'm here to announce that the MTN Kampala Marathon is back. And this year, we are running for babies. To be clear, I am not talking about a baby. No. And neither am I talking about to be baby. I am talking about these small dollars.
Run for babies in the MTN Kampala Marathon on Sunday, 20th November 2022. Dial *165 *77# or use the Momo app to register.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices. Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You say I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just say to register. Yes. Become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
Not mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Get value for your money by choosing the right paint. With Global Paints, you don't just paint, but paint for generations to come. Make Global Paints a paint of choice and make your building a paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
That's right. The Voice is coming to a city near you. From the 21st of October to the 20th of November, you get a chance to showcase your talent. Prepare a 1-minute MP4 video of yourself singing and upload it to thevoice.africa to register. Make sure you have a valid Airtel number, and if you're shortlisted, you will be contacted to come in for the live auditions.
Well, don't just stand there, let's go!
Music your passion, Africa your stage. The Voice Africa, connected by Airtel.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash hands with soap, it means clean hands for all. This is a message from the National Hand Washing Secretariat.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. A Rotary Club of Kololo, Kampala has donated mattresses to Naguru Reception Center to cater for the underprivileged children. The president, Rotary Club of Kololo, Kampala, Moses Triatemba, said they are now focusing on lighting the reception center, calling upon other stakeholders to join them.
We come here every year, especially every December, to look at our children, to look at what they are lacking, and we donate a few things. This time around, one of us came to check on them and found when the mattresses were lacking, and Through that information, we decided to donate 38 mattresses. These are young children who urinate anyhow, so they need these good mattresses with these covers so that these mattresses can take a little bit of a while. So we have donated these mattresses, and all over time, I mean, for a while we have been giving this project some assistance.
Every year we come here to celebrate with the children, especially at the end of the year, so that these children also get a feel of belonging somewhere. I think next year the center have got a challenge of security lighting, and we are planning to ensure that we give them proper security lighting.
But this time round, they have given us mattresses for the children. I thank Rotary Club Kololo once again for supporting government. Thank you so much. Right now we have 98 children. Yes, in Kenya we have 98 children. The youngest is about 1.5 years.
National Unity Platform, NUP's Fred Nyanzi Sentamu, has found a hard time to defend his evidence in court in his election petition against Mohamed Nsereko, challenging his victory for the Kampala Central Parliamentary seat. Nyanzi said over 50 polling stations are in contestation for falsification of election results. We have more in this story.
Last week, High Court in Kampala ordered both parties to file written submissions in the election petition where NUP's Fred Nyanzi Sentamu is challenging Mohamed Nsereko for his victory of the Kampala Central Parliamentary seat. Thursday morning, both parties in the matter have appeared in court before Justice Jesse Ruhanga to proceed with the hearing of the case. The petitioner Fred Nyanzi Sentamu appeared in the dock as a witness to defend his affidavit on court record upon request by the respondent's counsel. Nyanzi cited out some of the polling stations where he alleges falsification of results occurred.
So I want you to go, you said Kamocha? And my lord, it's not me who transmitted those results. What I find here are the problems. So when we have to consider to the person I'm contesting with.
However, Nyanzi found a difficult time to defend his evidence during cross-examination.
No, leadership. When we are bringing out facts, counsel says that we are wasting time.
Nyanzi also cited that Mohamed Nsereko bribed voters during the election by tendering to court video footage.
Clearly they have no evidence, they are dealing with hearsays, everything they say is frivolous, it's vexatious, it needs to be expanded. And definitely, I'm certainly sure, God willing, my victory will be reconfirmed.
Mohamed Nsereko was declared winner of the Kampala Central Member of Parliament elections with 16,998 votes against NUP's Fred Nyanzi of 15,975. Rebecca Natongo, UBC News.
The Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities has launched the Handcraft Expo that's aimed at showcasing business opportunities to potential local and international purchasers. The expo, under the theme Rethinking Tourism Through Culture and Creative Hands, is scheduled to take place from the 24th to the 26th of November 2022 at Uganda Museum.
During the launch of the Handcraft Expo, the State Minister for Tourism, Martin Bahinduka, urged Ugandans to embrace their culture and products as a way of marketing the Pearl of Africa to the rest of the world.
There are thousands of groups from the lowest parts of our communities that actually in this business of the handcraft, at least producing something that talks about their cultures, but mainly participation of these women groups, and they're in the thousands. I think as a ministry, we've already trained 120 groups so far, and that's why we want to encourage Ugandans, first, to appreciate the culture that this country has. There's so many tribes, the kinds of foods, everything that comes to do with the our people as Ugandans.
In a bid to increase demand, the minister further called upon key players in the handcraft and souvenir sector to produce quality products on the market.
We want to encourage them to produce the best products that can compete globally so that they can make a living. And that's the reason why we are here. So it's our appeal. Come participate as Ugandans, come appreciate the talent and the quality that our people produce here, but also call upon the other international people, the traders, to come and see what Ugandans showcase so that they can be able to purchase and also create awareness about the authentic products that Uganda has to produce.
According to Hakim Kizito, the monitoring and evaluation of his handcraft project, government will carry on supporting the sector with resources.
We are also constructing a production center, and this will be the first one that we shall construct. This is going to happen under this project. It's a $1.5 million grant from the Enhanced Integrated Framework, but it's not the end. Continue to provide them with more modern tools of production. So as government, that is what we are trying to do to support the sector.
Rethinking tourism through culture and creative hands is one of the initiatives birthed by the ministry to ensure income generation. Joshua Kagoro, UBC News.
Leaders in Fort Portal Tourism City have appealed to government for serious action against corrupt officials in the city following corruption tendencies that affect service delivery. The concern follows a joint Fort Portal and Kabarole district leaders retreat that aimed at securing unity among leaders for better service delivery.
2020, Ministry of Local Government launched Fort Portal City amidst celebrations of anticipation of better service delivery. However, the dream is shattered by corruption in form of exchanging money for job appointments, loopholes in awarding contracts leading to shoddy work, delays in delivery service by technical staff due to delivery and kickbacks, among others.
The head of finance for Portal City is the auditor, internal auditor for Portal City. How? Look at that mess. An internal auditor being given some assignments of the head of finance. Now, who will run it to the other?
In October this year, similar corruption tendencies attracted the intervention of IGG and the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, which led to the arrest of Fort Portal City Clerk, Juan Otimong Moses.
There must be a distinction. The business of saying I'm an NRM cadre, I am a supporter of government does not work. The NRM leadership wants people who deliver services to their people.
Leaders acknowledge that corruption exists and has undermined service delivery in Fort Portal City and Kabarole district. Such culprits, instead of being reprimanded, they are transferred to other areas as the chain continues.
More than 67 court cases, and one of the cases had 4 billion. Which council was paid?
There exist cases of habitual staff absenteeism and late coming. It was noted that some undisciplined public officers are protected. When reported, they are only transferred and not reprimanded.
Poor service delivery is the order of the day, as leaders blame it on insufficient funding from central government and lack of a legal framework to govern the new cities.
The money that we get is not enough. Sometimes the whole sub-county gets 3 million to work on their roads for the whole financial year.
Earlier, the Minister for Local Government, Raphael Majezin, in his tour to monitor performance of government projects, however, refuted the leaders' allegations and tasked them to fully minimize the little available funds.
Yes, the money has not been adequate, but I'm calling on the district officials, the chief administrative officers and the heads of engineering. Whether it's 900 or 600 or 30 million, what has the little money done?
Other issues raised are poor collaboration between city authority and technical staff, between Fort Portal City and Kabarole district leadership.
Now, the Directorate of Industrial Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports is conducting the occupational-based assessment level 1 to 3 and modular assessment countrywide. Over 13,000 candidates from 545 assessment centers are to be assessed. The Directorate of Industrial Training, Dr. Patrick Byakatonda, says this is part of Scaling Uganda, which is aimed at providing skills to every Ugandan.
Uganda's education system is targeting to produce graduates with skills that are competitive on the labor market. Over 200 youths from the Kayunga Presidential Hub in Kayunga District are undergoing the modular assessment by the Directorate of Industrial Training in the occupations of carpentry, tailoring, hairdressing and welding. The Director of Industrial Training, Dr. Patrick Byakatonda, says this approach is in response to the world of work.
Now we are assessing the trainees under the industrial hubs. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, promised industrial hubs, and the industrial hubs have been established in the 4 regions of Uganda. Those industrial hubs, they are supposed to equip the youth with the skills and transform society.
The State House project aims at transforming Ugandans from peasantry to socio-economic transformation growth.
Now, the target, it is to skill Ugandans to the money economy. That is the whole point. The president is trying to give an opportunity to those who say that who had given up on life. Because you never went to school, your parents never had money.
Such skills acquired by the youths will help transform themselves and communities. I'm Nafka Farida and Muganga Henry.
Aimed at curbing unemployment level.
From Kampala, let's go to Luweero now, where Luweero Diocese Bishop, Right Reverend Ridad Nsubuga, has advised Senior 6 candidates to have a positive attitude as they approach their Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education exams next week. He was at Luweero Senior Secondary School, where he dedicated 187 candidates to the Lord.
The final Uganda National Examination period for 2022 starts next week, with the Senior 6 candidates in action. Across the country, close to 90,000 students are bracing for these exams, with the 187 at Luweero Senior Secondary School advised a positive attitude during a dedication service.
It is very important for one to have a positive attitude. We were urging them to have a positive attitude about themselves and about a positive attitude about the power and the strength of God.
The school head teacher David Senkungu is optimistic that despite COVID-19 interruptions that haven't been helped by the Ebola scare, the learners are in good stead.
Individuals, we encourage them to do their level best, and they have been going an extra mile. Actually, we expect good results.
The occasion to dedicate this Senior 6 class coincided with commissioning of a new boys' dormitory.
Now, having introduced the new curriculum at secondary level, students under Junior Achievement Uganda have lauded government for the curriculum, complimenting it as the best innovation that has happened to the education sector in Uganda in a very long time. Take a watch.
Students of different schools that are being taught under the new curriculum appreciate its practical nature, adding that it does not only empower them financially, but also keep them constructively busy during the holidays. As one of the basics learned is protecting the environment by collecting plastic materials to be reused.
As individuals would stop and see how these things that we do would impact us and find ways of how we can rectify them and reduce on their impact on our lives at the end of the day, I believe that we can make a better world. Right now, the biggest problem around the world is climate change.
Wakunyo Godfrey, the program director at Junior Achievement Uganda, helps students to achieve their dreams in innovation.
A lot has been achieved. When you go to colorless itself, one of the students' products is being used. Instead of using the barbed wires to do fencing within the compound, they are now using the bottle chain links to see to it that they are demarcating the different parts of their environment. They have also started producing products that they are selling to the community. So this is now more of a social enterprise where the students are solving a community problem by collecting plastics from the community but transforming them into productive, into good things. So we can simply call it, we are creating wealth out of waste.
He added that this campaign aims at sensitizing people about climate change.
So today, the different countries that are on the program across the globe are meeting to share their solutions to climate change. The countries involved from Africa too, this Uganda and Nigeria, then other continents will also being represented by 2 countries. So at the global exchange event, each member nation is coming to share the solution that they have come up with, that the students have come up with as a way of addressing the challenges associated with climate change.
Some of the innovations made by students are plastic fence, plastic bottled baskets, among others.
Our intention is to save the environment through reducing as much plastic as possible from the environment. We are looking more onto plastics because we singled them out to be the #1 major contributor of climate change through its poor disposal, burning.
Andrew Sebira, Sadamu Bale, UBC News, Kampala.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance and the Innovation Village, a connected community of entrepreneurs, have signed a 5-year memorandum of understanding. The strategic public and private sector partnership seeks to create sustainable, scalable projects and initiatives that will transform Uganda's ICT innovation landscape for socio-economic development.
Uganda has many innovators and innovations. However, the scalability to commercial levels is often hampered by financial and logistical challenges. It's for this reason that the public and private sector partnership comes in handy.
Sometimes support does not necessarily have to come through financial resources, but it has to come through endorsements. But for us here, we are not only endorsing, but our plan is to come up with a project that we can sell out to development partners that creates kind of sustainable, financial resource for the innovators, because innovators need finances to get their solutions through.
So, with the Ministry of ICT, the participation and the collaboration is broad, but the one key success measure will be our ability to build new channels of financing for entrepreneurs that can enable them get that first check as they begin to build their idea.
The MOU signing comes on the heels of Parliamentary Committee on ICT tour of key innovation hubs in Kampala. They included the National ICT Hub in Nakawa and Motive, a branch of the Innovation Village located at the Kampala industrial area.
Our people can also benefit from this program if you involve them, but before I was not aware about the program.
All right.
Yeah. But if there's any way that you can also try to involve our people with disability, yeah, because they're also very creative out there, but there's no access to information.
Unlocking the potential of young people in the innovation and technological space is vital in creating jobs and sustainable enterprises, argues Nathan Nabeta, the Deputy Chairman of the ICT Committee.
What I've liked about the Innovation Village, and what most people don't understand, is actually ICT is an enabler of everything. So everything that we do today has some ICT components in it. All the gadgets, everything we use now is becoming smarter and smarter and smarter. So we need ICT to be used to enable to unlock the creativity of these young people.
Although ICTs play an integral part in our day-to-day lives, there is a concern of cost of internet services.
If we're talking about business process outsourcing, people have to do jobs leveraging on ICT. That means there will be 100% of the time of their work online, the cost has to go down. The journey we are walking of expanding connectivity is one of those that we hope or are hopeful that, you know, when we have connectivity reach everywhere, we'll have more users come online, and then we'll get, you know, the prices come down.
Uganda's internet affordability ranks 116 out of 117 countries in the world, or 92% of the world's 8 billion people. This is according to the 2022 research by Surfshark, a cybersecurity company based in the Netherlands. Dennis Ikoa and Juma Samba for UBC News.
So, I'm here to announce that the MTN Kampala Marathon is back. And this year, we are running for babies. To be clear, I am not talking about a baby. No. And neither am I talking about to be baby. I am talking about these small dollars.
Run for babies in the MTN Kampala Marathon on Sunday, 20th November 2022. Dial *165 *77 hash or use the Momo app to register.
Welcome to Friends Stadium. Everybody's ready. Wait a second, not everybody. Come on, dude, it's the FIFA World Cup. You're going to lose your seat, the ritual seat, the lucky one. Losing more than a seat, your team is going to lose. Where are you, dude? The match is about to start. Your friends won't hold out much longer. Excuse me. Finally, everything is in the right place. Hey, other hand. And you, do you have everything you need to believe?
That's right. The Voice is coming to a city near you. From the 21st of October to the 20th of November, you get a chance to showcase your talent. Prepare a 1-minute MP4 video of yourself singing and upload it to thevoice.africa to register. Make sure you have a valid Airtel number, and if you're shortlisted, you will be contacted to come in for the live auditions.
Well, don't just stand there, let's go!
Music your passion, Africa your stage. The Voice Africa, connected by Airtel.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
Did you know that a cashless, secure, and convenient lifestyle is possible with Airtel Money Pay? Pay for your goods and services in the following simple steps. Dial *185 *9 hash. Enter the merchant ID. Enter the amount. Enter payment reference, for example, school items. Please enter PIN to confirm. You will receive a confirmation message for a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of sport. A Uganda Bodybuilding and Fitness Association has finalized plans for the 2022 Mr. Uganda contest to be hosted at Mount Zion Hotel in Kampala. Here is our sports reporter John Bansentamo with a detailed story.
Close to 96 athletes are expected to grace the 2022 Mr. Uganda Bodybuilding contest due 3rd December at Zion Hotel in Kampala and will for the first time have a national outlook.
We have managed to expand the competition. Before we was having only Central Region competing by themselves. Now we managed to give the opportunity to the rest of other regions also to have a chance to compete into their regions. Remember, those regions, they didn't know, some of them, they didn't know that there's Mr. Uganda, there is Mr. Kampala. So this time around, they have managed to have competition within their region so that after competing in their regions, they can manage to come and compete in Mr. Uganda. Then after Mr. Uganda, those finalists will be representing Uganda on international level.
It will be graced by seasonal campaigners who, in the absence of reigning champion John Kalitwa, are upbeat.
It's all about conditioning. I've managed to condition very well. My diet have been on point, and I believe because the muscle volume and size have increased. So I hope for the best.
Former World Physique champion Trevon Edwards, accompanied by women experts, is the lead judge and will also tutor Ugandans on key aspects of the sport.
Mr. Trevon Edwards from the US, 9 times world champion in the men's physique, is going to conduct the judges seminar and give us some more techniques and maybe brush and dust whatever we had to give it to the modern.
The championship, where excellence will attract several prizes, but importantly representation at international engagements, is for both men and women in bodybuilding, men's physique and women's wellness. The best in the land, including Lameka Muwanga, Godfrey Lubega, Aksam Kiseka, Hassan Sentongo, Zulaika Najuma and Dafala Gift Shamida, are expected to compete for honors. John Barnes, Sentamo, UBC Tonight.
And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night and see you some other time.
A+ Funeral Management, on behalf of the family of Mr. George William Kanajizi of Nkumbura Village, Kaharo Sub-County, Ndorwa East, Kabale District, with deep sorrow, announces the death of their beloved son, Bahati Mark Kanajizi, which occurred on Monday, 14th November 2022. Vigil is on tonight at the home of Mzee George William Kanajizi in Kabusu. There will be a funeral service at All Saints Cathedral.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Get Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for 1 whole year. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information,